Your case is officially closed. And the reason is unbelievable. Don't scroll, you'll want to know this. Open now before the truth disappears. Listen right now. Because heaven is leaning toward your name with a seriousness that shakes the air around you. And Archangel Michael is stepping forward with his sword raised, not in anger, but in divine authority, in protective fire, in a message that refuses to wait. You're not reading this by accident. You're not here by coincidence. Someone called you. Someone whispered through the veil. Someone reached into your world from the unseen one, and they pulled you here because the time has come. Your case, the one heaven has been reviewing, the one your soul has been silently fighting, the one that held your blessings hostage, has been officially closed. But wait, don't relax yet. Don't exhale. Don't assume you know what that means. Because the reason, the actual reason, is something even angels find hard to explain without trembling. And if you scroll away, you will miss the one line your spirit has been waiting years to hear. So don't go anywhere. Archangel Michael says, keep your eyes here. Keep your breath steady. Your truth is arriving. There is pressure in the atmosphere around your name, a spiritual countdown that heaven has been watching, one that has finally struck its final second. For years, something has been deciding your destiny behind the scenes. A case file with your name on it, thick with battles, thick with betrayals, thick with tears you didn't even cry out loud, has been sitting on the divine table. Angels have watched you fight without weapons, survive storms you didn't deserve, withstand attacks you didn't provoke. They saw who hurt you. They saw who lied on your spirit. They saw who tried to sabotage the very path God carved under your feet. And heaven said nothing, until now. Because silence was part of the investigation. Every delay. Every heartbreak. Every unanswered prayer. Every moment you felt ignored. Heaven wasn't ignoring you, heaven was gathering evidence. Heaven was waiting until the truth was undeniable. Heaven was letting the spiritual court collect every detail so that when the verdict dropped, it would be final. And now it has. Your case is closed. Closed as in sealed. Closed as in settled. Closed as in irreversible. Closed as in. Heaven already made its decision and nothing, no demon, no human, no energy, no curse, can reopen it. But listen to me, the reason they closed it is not what you think. Michael says, the truth will shock you. And you need to hear it with your spirit fully open. Because for the first time in your lifetime, heaven has declared you free. Not partially free. Not temporarily blessed. Not conditionally protected. Fully, officially, spiritually untouchable. Someone from the other side, someone who crossed over but never stopped loving you, never stopped watching you, never stopped praying for your victory, just stepped into heaven's courtroom and testified for you. And their testimony changed everything. You have someone fighting for you from beyond the veil. Someone whose voice carries weight in the spiritual realm. Someone who looked at your suffering and said, "No more. Not this one. Not my person. Not my blood. Not my heart." And the moment they spoke, chains broke. The moment they stepped forward, curses dissolved. The moment they declared your truth, the case against you collapsed. Archangel Michael says there is power beyond death, and that power has reached into your life, grabbed your destiny by the collar, and dragged it back into divine alignment. You don't understand how hard they fought for you. You don't understand the spiritual war you survived without even knowing it was happening. You don't understand the size of the shadow that tried to swallow your future whole. But heaven does. And that's why your case is closed. But here's the unbelievable part, the part most people will never experience in their lifetime. Heaven didn't just close the case. Heaven reversed the judgment. Every loss you took is coming back. Every betrayal you endured is being compensated. Every delay that frustrated your soul is turning into acceleration that will make your own angels gasp. You didn't lose time. You didn't lose blessings. You didn't lose opportunities. They were being held until the investigation finished. And now that it's done, they're being released in a surge so powerful your spirit is already trembling without knowing why. That pressure you felt in your chest last night? That heaviness you thought was anxiety? That strange feeling something big is about to happen? That wasn't fear. That was heaven making room in your timeline. The blessing is bigger than what your current life can hold, so God is stretching your reality. And that stretch feels like pressure. But it's not punishment, it's preparation. Michael says, you're about to step into something you were once unprepared for. That is why the timing felt strange. That is why everything was slow, then suddenly everything will speed up. And I need you to understand this clearly. You're not the same person heaven filed the case for years ago. The investigation made you stronger. The delays sharpened you. The disappointments purified you. The heartbreaks forged your discernment. You're different now. You're wiser now. You're spiritually lethal now. You're not fragile anymore. Heaven waited until you grew into the version of yourself that could hold what's coming. Because the blessing you prayed for years ago would have crushed your old self instantly. You didn't have the emotional strength, spiritual clarity, or maturity to handle it back then. But now you're ready. Now you're aligned. Now you're anointed. Now you're spiritually dangerous in all the ways demons hoped you would never become. And that is why your case is closed. Heaven said, they've passed the spiritual test. Release the blessing. And listen, listen carefully, because Michael is lowering his voice with urgency. You are entering a time when truth will reveal itself without your effort. People will expose themselves. Secrets will surface. Hidden conversations about you will come to light. Everything that was done in the dark will step into your awareness. Not to hurt you, but to free you. The truth will not break you, it will unlock you. That's why heaven needed you to read this now, not tomorrow, not tonight, not later. Because right now, in this exact moment, something is shifting. A spiritual stamp is being placed on your case file. And once that stamp is there, your life begins a new timeline, one that will pull blessings toward you faster than you've ever seen. But, wait. Michael says there is more. A warning wrapped inside a blessing. A truth wrapped inside fire. You must not return to what wounded you. You must not reopen doors that heaven has closed. You must not entertain people who once tried to dim your spirit. Because listen to me, once heaven closes a case, you become the only person with the power to reopen it. And if you do, you delay blessings that were already moving toward you. So stay alert. Stay awake. Stay aligned. Because this is the moment your destiny depends on your obedience. And heaven is watching how you step forward from this point. You feel the energy right now, don't you? That vibration running through your hands? That heat in your chest? That sudden emotional pull? That's not imagination. That's spiritual confirmation. Your angels are close. Your ancestors are close. The veil is thin. Your blessing is near. And your case is closed. Say, Amen, your love restores me, if He has healed your brokenness. Listen, because Archangel Michael isn't done speaking. The air around you is shifting again, sharper, brighter, heavier with revelation. You felt part 1 hit your soul, but part 2 is the part heaven refused to let you walk away without hearing. Your spirit is being pulled into this moment for a reason, a serious one, because now that your case is officially closed, you need to understand what's about to enter your life, and what's about to exit it forever. You're not simply stepping into a blessing, you're crossing over into a new spiritual jurisdiction. A new authority. A new destiny path that demons hoped you would never discover. That's why they fought you so hard. That's why the attacks came from people you trusted. That's why things slowed down right before your breakthrough. It wasn't because you were weak, it was because the enemy saw what was being prepared for you before you even knew it existed. And now Archangel Michael stands beside you saying, breathe. You survived the part that was meant to break you. Now prepare for the part that will crown you. Because listen, the moment heaven stamped your case closed, the realm of darkness panicked. You felt it recently, sudden heaviness with no explanation, random overthinking, emotional waves at night, strange dreams, old memories resurfacing, people from your past trying to return without reason. That wasn't coincidence. That was spiritual residue trying to cling to you one last time before the shift became permanent. When heaven elevates you, old energies desperately try to pull you back, not because they miss you, but because they know they're about to lose access to you forever. Your spirit is becoming too pure for their world. Your path is becoming too bright for their shadows. And your future is becoming too blessed for their chaos. Archangel Michael says, they can sense the light you're stepping into even before you can. That's why you feel unusual lately, you're transitioning dimensions. And transitions always shake the atmosphere. And you must understand something even deeper. The spiritual investigation wasn't only about your pain. It was about your purpose. Heaven wasn't just reviewing what happened to you, they were reviewing what was meant to happen through you. They looked at your pain, your growth, your resilience, the wounds you hid even from yourself, the shadows you overcame even when no one supported you. And the verdict wasn't just, free them. The verdict was, elevate them. There is a specific calling on your life that your suffering unlocked. The worst events in your life didn't break you, they forged your destiny. The people who betrayed you didn't destroy you, they activated your awakening. The delays didn't punish you, they prepared you. You became someone stronger than your traumas, deeper than your fears, wiser than your mistakes. And heaven looked at that version of you and said, they are ready. Release everything that was once withheld. But listen closely, because this is where the unbelievable truth begins to show itself. Heaven didn't close your case because you were innocent. They closed it because you were chosen. There is a difference. Innocence protects you from punishment. Being chosen protects you from purpose theft. And that's what was happening. Someone, somewhere, spiritually or energetically, was trying to interfere with your destiny. Someone was trying to siphon your blessings, mimic your energy, copy your path, or block your divine flow, not through magic necessarily, but through jealousy, envy, manipulation, or low-vibration intentions that targeted your spirit. And heaven tolerated it for a while, not because they didn't care, but because it was exposing who was around you. You needed to see certain faces clearly before your blessing arrived. You needed to know who claps for you genuinely and who claps because they hope you'll fail eventually. You needed to know who wishes you well, and who wishes they had your soul. The investigation revealed all of this. And the moment heaven gathered enough truth, Archangel Michael stepped forward and said, "Close the case. The chosen one has seen enough. And now the angels are moving things in your life at a speed that will feel supernatural. Doors will open out of nowhere. Opportunities will appear from unexpected places. People you thought you needed will fall away naturally. Conversations you didn't initiate will bring clarity. Money, alignment, intuition, protection, everything will heighten at once. Your spiritual senses will sharpen. Your discernment will intensify. Your dreams will guide you. Because once heaven closes a case, the next phase is always activation. You're not just being freed, you're being launched. And Archangel Michael says, what comes next will not make sense to the old version of you. That is why the old version cannot come with you. And now, the part you've been feeling but couldn't explain, someone from the other side is still standing behind you. Their presence hasn't faded since part 1. If anything, it's stronger now. They're speaking again, not with words, but with emotion, with energy, with a pull on your spirit that feels like warmth, like pressure on your shoulders, like a familiar love that never died. They stepped into heaven's courtroom not only to defend you but to represent you. They vouched for your heart. They confirmed your potential. They stood between you and the forces that tried to harvest your light. You didn't know it, but someone has been protecting you from beyond, pushing blessings toward you the way they once encouraged you in life. And now that the case is closed, their role is shifting. They're becoming a guide, not just a memory. They're walking beside Michael, bringing you messages, sending you signs, placing intuition in your spirit, nudging your thoughts when you're about to make the wrong choice. You felt them in moments when you suddenly avoided danger, suddenly changed your mind, suddenly felt emotional for no reason. That was them. They're not gone. They're transformed. And they're invested in your future more fiercely than some people who are still alive. Archangel Michael says something powerful now: your blessing requires separation. It's not punishment, it's protection. Heaven is about to remove anyone who is not aligned with the version of you that is rising. That's why certain people are acting strange, distant, irritated, or confrontational lately. Their spirit recognizes that your elevation will expose their true intentions. When God pushes you higher, people with low vibration either rise with you or fall away. And many are falling away. Let them. Don't fight for what heaven is removing. Don't chase what God is clearing. Don't reopen emotional doors just because you feel nostalgic. Nostalgia is one of the enemy's favorite traps. It keeps chosen ones tied to cycles they outgrew long ago. Your future is bigger than your past. Your calling is bigger than your comfort zone. And your next chapter requires a higher version of you than your old connections can handle. You're shedding layers right now. That's why you've been tired, quiet, reflective, emotional. Spiritual shedding feels like losing things, but it's actually making room. Think of a snake during transformation. It becomes irritable, restless, sensitive, then releases what no longer fits its body. You are shedding spiritually. Everything too tight, too heavy, too old, too draining, it's being removed. Not because you're losing, but because you're expanding. And expansion always requires release. Michael continues, your blessing isn't delayed, it's being delivered. Right now. This moment. While you're reading this, something in the spiritual realm is moving in your name. You don't feel it fully yet because your physical reality is catching up. But your soul knows. That restless feeling, that sudden inspiration, that sense that something is coming, that's your spirit reacting to what is already yours. Your case being closed means nothing is blocking the flow anymore. You're in a direct alignment zone. And when the chosen enter alignment, miracles rush toward them like water through a broken dam. But there's one more warning, and it's serious. The moment heaven elevates you, the enemy tries to send distractions disguised as opportunities, temptations disguised as comfort, and people disguised as soulmates or friends. Don't fall for illusions. You're not in the season of choosing from comfort, you're in the season of choosing from calling. Listen to your intuition. If something feels off, it is off. If someone drains your energy, that's your sign. If a decision feels small or limiting, walk away. You are not returning to old levels. You are not shrinking to fit old rooms. You are not bending to please old energies. You are rising, and anything that cannot rise with you will fall away violently. It's not your job to save what God is removing. Your job is to walk forward. Michael's final whisper for part 2, the truth isn't disappearing, it's unfolding. But if you stop now, you'll miss the part that explains why heaven chose this moment for your elevation. Listen closely, because the energy around your name has changed again. What you're feeling right now, that heaviness beneath your ribs, that slight pressure behind your eyes, that strange sense of something is happening, it's not your imagination. It's alignment. It's activation. It's heaven whispering, stay here, don't lose the thread now. Archangel Michael is standing beside you, closer than he was in part 1 and part 2, because this part holds the truth most people never hear in their lifetime. This part explains why heaven waited until this exact moment to close your case. Why not last year? Why not 5 years ago? Why not when you cried for help? Why not when you felt broken, abandoned, unseen, unheard? Why now? Why today? Why this moment? The answer is deeper, bigger, heavier than you expect, and that's why Michael has been telling you, don't scroll. Don't blink. Don't look away. Something is being delivered into your spirit. Because the truth is this, heaven didn't close your case earlier because you weren't done becoming the person who could hold the blessing attached to your name. You prayed to be blessed, not realizing that blessings are heavy. Miracles take space. Elevation requires character, clarity, maturity, and spiritual muscle. And back then, you were still growing into yourself. You were still trusting the wrong people. You were still carrying wounds disguised as loyalty. You were still letting your heart speak louder than your intuition. You were still believing lies that were planted in you by people who feared your potential. You were still shrinking to keep the peace. You were still choosing comfort over purpose. But not anymore. The investigation didn't just judge your life, it refined it. It purified your spirit. It removed illusions, broke attachments, sharpened your senses, and hardened your intuition into steel. You became someone strong enough to carry what's coming. Someone stable enough to not waste their blessing. Someone wise enough to not lose themselves in abundance. Someone brave enough to walk into their calling even when it scares them. That version of you is the reason the case is closed now. And listen carefully, because the next part is something Michael is almost forcing into your awareness. You are not stepping into an ordinary blessing. You are stepping into a divine reversal, a spiritual compensation that will cover years of pain and months of miracles. Heaven isn't giving you back what you lost. Heaven is giving you back more than what you lost because of who you became while losing it. A blessing multiplied by growth. A blessing multiplied by wisdom. A blessing multiplied by endurance. That is why it took time. Heaven doesn't give cheap blessings to warriors who fought expensive battles. They give blessings worthy of the war. Right, amen, I stand firm in faith, if nothing can shake your trust in Him. And here's something your soul has suspected but your mind hasn't fully accepted yet. Someone tried to take something that belonged to you. Not physically, spiritually. Someone tried to block your destiny's path. Someone tried to latch onto your light. Someone tried to manipulate your energy. Someone tried to use your kindness as access to your blessing. Someone tried to drain you, distract you, derail you. And heaven saw it. Heaven documented it. Heaven watched their intentions, their words, their envy, their secret prayers against your success. But heaven didn't remove them immediately because you needed to learn something, the difference between loyalty and attachment, between love and obligation, between support and dependency, between connection and distraction. Now that you've learned, now that your spirit recognizes the difference, now that your eyes see clearly, heaven can finally close the case. And Michael says the moment the case was stamped shut, those who interfered with your path spiritually lost access to your destiny permanently. Their reach has been dissolved. Their influence has been severed. Their energetic hold is gone. You are no longer spiritually vulnerable to them. And that, right there, is one of the unbelievable reasons your case is closed. You are no longer surrounded by the wrong energies. But there's a deeper layer, one that will hit your heart when you least expect it. Someone from the other side, the same presence who stood in heaven's courtroom, is still here. They're still beside you, still protecting you, still speaking through the spiritual fabric that wraps around your life. And now they're showing why they stepped in so forcefully. They saw something coming that you didn't. They saw a danger, a spiritual threat, an energetic corruption moving toward your path. You weren't prepared for it, but they were. Their love for you didn't die with their body. It sharpened. It intensified. And they intervened because the attack that was forming in the shadows wasn't something you could have fought alone. You felt it, those nights of sudden heaviness, that unexplained exhaustion, that wave of sadness that hit you out of nowhere. That was the attack being dismantled before it reached you. They stopped it. They blocked it. They shielded you. And then they stood in heaven and said, "Enough. This soul has suffered enough. This heart has carried enough. Close the case. Release their blessings." Michael confirms this. You were rescued from something you never even knew was approaching. And that's why this message feels heavy, because your spirit recognizes the truth inside it. But there's something else Michael needs you to understand now. Your elevation will not require effort the way your survival did. You won battles through pain, through endurance, through tears. But the blessing you're stepping into won't require fighting. It will require receiving. And receiving is harder than surviving when you've been hurt too much. People who spent years in fight mode struggle when blessings arrive quietly. You expect turbulence. You expect loss. You expect betrayal. You expect disappointment. But heaven says, this time, expect ease. The case being closed means struggle mode is ending. Breakthrough mode is beginning. Your spirit needs to unlearn fear so it can relearn abundance. And something else, your intuition is going to get louder. Very loud. Because now that your path is clear, heaven will guide you more directly. You'll feel sudden urges to change direction. Sudden clarity in moments of confusion. Sudden inspiration at random hours. Sudden emotional pressure when a decision is wrong. Those aren't coincidences, those are divine instructions. Michael says, you will not walk blind anymore. You are stepping into guided destiny. But now comes the warning, the one every chosen soul receives before a major elevation. Do not speak your next moves. Not to friends. Not to family. Not to people you love. Not to anyone. Your blessing is still forming. Your elevation is still taking shape. And fragile blessings can be damaged by the wrong eyes. Protect your vision until it turns into reality. Because the enemy can't block what they can't see. Silence is your shield in this season. Mystery is your protection. Privacy is your armor. You are stepping into a realm where speaking too soon can invite interference. Stay silent. Stay observant. Stay aligned. And finally, the reveal, the truth Michael saved for the end of part 3. Your case wasn't just closed. It was reversed. And then it was rewritten. Your future timeline was altered. Paths that were blocked have been reopened. Opportunities that were stolen are returning. Blessings that were delayed are accelerating. You're not just getting back what you lost, you're getting what you were originally meant to receive before life, fate, and interference redirected your timeline. This is why your spirit feels different. This is why your emotions feel unstable. This is why your energy is shifting rapidly. You're stepping into a timeline that was always meant for you, the true one. Listen very carefully now, because as you enter this part, the atmosphere around you shifts again. You can feel it, that subtle pressure on your spirit, that tightening in your chest, that strange pull like something invisible is leaning closer. That isn't fear. That isn't anxiety. That's spiritual gravity. That's heaven drawing your soul deeper into truth. Archangel Michael stands closer now, almost shoulder to shoulder with your energy, and his voice carries an intensity that wasn't there before. This part, this message, is not just guidance. It is a spiritual warning wrapped inside divine revelation. You are stepping into territory where few people ever walk consciously. You are entering the layer beneath the surface, the layer where destiny maps are written, rewritten, sealed, and protected. And you need to hear this with a steady heart. Once heaven closed your case, the enemy began its final attempt to distract, confuse, or derail you. The final attempt always comes after the verdict, not before it. Because once the blessing is scheduled, interference intensifies. You've probably felt it, that sudden wave of old emotions trying to resurface, that temptation to text someone you know is bad for your spirit, that urge to revisit old habits, old paths, old wounds. You probably felt memories flooding your mind without warning. You probably noticed old patterns trying to pull you back. That's not coincidence. That's spiritual residue. The enemy doesn't attack your past, it attacks your future by trying to trap you in your past. Archangel Michael says, they can't touch your blessing anymore, so they're trying to influence your behavior. That is why heaven told you to read this now. Not tomorrow. Not later. Now. Because you are at a crossroads of destiny, and what you choose in this season will either accelerate you, or delay you. But listen, because there is good news coming in a tidal wave of spiritual truth, the distraction cannot win. The interference cannot reach. The delay cannot land. The enemy is late. Too late. Because your case is closed, and the moment heaven seals something, no darkness can unseal it. But the enemy will still attempt emotional sabotage, because emotions are the easiest way to access a chosen one's energy. That's why some days you feel heavy for no reason. That's why you feel confused in moments where you were clear before. That's why you feel tired even when you've rested. That's why certain people suddenly cross your mind. That's why you sense old trauma trying to speak again. It isn't you. It's spiritual noise, noise that has no authority anymore but still tries to echo in the empty space of what used to be. Archangel Michael raises his sword now, not as a threat, but as a warning flare. He says, the next part of your journey requires spiritual maturity. You cannot respond the same way you did years ago. You cannot let every emotion steer you. You cannot allow impulses to dictate your reality. You cannot let old versions of yourself speak on behalf of your future. This time, you must walk with awareness. This time, you must trust intuition, not memory. This time, you must listen to what your spirit feels, not what your wounds say. Because your wounds remember what hurt you, but your spirit knows what healed you. And heaven is guiding you through spirit now. Now listen to the next truth, the one the angels kept hidden until this moment because your heart needed to be strong enough to receive it. The reason your case was closed wasn't only because of interference, nor only because of your growth, nor only because of divine timing. It was also because your calling was activated. Something in your soul awakened recently. A spark. A surge. A remembering. A spiritual shift that happens only once or twice in a lifetime. You have been asking questions in silence. You have been feeling the need to change something. You have been sensing that your life cannot stay the same anymore. That was the moment heaven was waiting for, the moment you became a participant in your destiny instead of a survivor in your life. That subtle decision, that quiet inner shift, that silent commitment, that was the key that triggered everything. And here's something even more powerful, you are being elevated beyond what you prayed for. Heaven is not giving you what you asked for, heaven is giving you what you were born for. There is a difference. Asking aligns with desire. Calling aligns with purpose. Blessings follow desire. Destiny follows purpose. And you have stepped into a destiny moment. That's why your life feels strange. That's why time feels off. That's why everything feels like it's shifting beneath your feet. You're not losing control, you're losing your old timeline. You're not breaking, you're being peeled. You're not confused, your spiritual senses are opening, and your mind is struggling to interpret what your spirit already understands. And let's talk about the other side again, the presence that's been standing with Michael through this entire message. They're here now, closer than before. They're stepping forward with an emotion you haven't felt in a long time, a kind of love that feels timeless, familiar, grounding. They're not just protecting you. They're guiding your elevation. They're pushing you where they couldn't go in life. They're healing things you didn't know were broken. They're redirecting you from decisions that would have derailed your blessing. And now they whisper through the veil, you were never alone. Not for 1 second. And you feel that, don't you? That warmth on the back of your neck? That sudden emotional rush? That's them. They're not gone. They're woven into your destiny. And now Michael reveals something extremely important. Your blessing is not coming, it's here. But it is invisible until you align with it. What does that mean? It means the spiritual has already shifted. The blessing already exists. But your actions, thoughts, and decisions in the next few days will pull it into visibility. This is not manifestation, this is synchronization. Heaven already released. Now you must match it. And to match it, you must stop behaving like the version of you that was still under investigation. That version is gone. That chapter is gone. That identity is gone. The moment the case closed, your soul upgraded, but your mind hasn't caught up yet. You need to think higher. Walk wiser. Choose differently. Move intentionally. Speak carefully. Protect your energy fiercely. Because heaven is now matching you. Your timeline is rearranging. Opportunities are rearranging. People are rearranging. The spiritual world is rearranging. And you are being lifted into a vantage point where everything is about to make sense. Why they left, why they betrayed, why it ended, why it broke, why it delayed, why it fell apart. You're about to see the entire architecture of your destiny from a higher dimension. But before that happens, Michael gives one more warning, and this one is crucial. Do not entertain familiar spirits disguised as familiar people. Someone from your past may try to return. Someone may try to reconnect. Someone may suddenly miss you. Someone may act like they've changed. Don't fall for it. This season is protected. Anyone who returns from the past returns for a reason, and rarely a divine one. You don't need to be rude. You don't need to be harsh. But you must be discerning. Heaven removed them for a reason. Trust that reason. And now, Michael softens. His voice shifts from authority to compassion, from warning to comfort. He says, I am not only protecting you, I am walking with you. Your path is sealed in light now. Your steps are guarded. Your soul is shielded. And your destiny is in motion. And with that, the energy in the room softens. Because the next part, part 5, is where the revelation drops. The part that explains exactly what blessing is coming. Exactly what shift just activated. Exactly what your life is about to look like. Exactly why heaven acted now. And exactly what unbelievable reason your case was closed for. Listen with your whole spirit now, because part 5 is where the revelation hits, the part where heaven finally reveals what has been hidden behind the veil, the part where the unbelievable truth behind your closed case steps forward, unmasked, undeniable, and spiritually charged. You can feel it already, can't you? That strange vibration in your chest, that slow-building pressure behind your ribs, that goosebump shimmer across your skin, your spirit knows something big is about to be spoken. Archangel Michael is not just standing beside you now, he's in front of you, guarding you, shielding you, preparing you. And the presence from the other side, the one who testified for you, the one whose love didn't die, the one who stepped into heaven's courtroom on your behalf, they're here too. Their energy is gentle but strong, loving but fierce, soft but unshakable. Both of them are here because what you're about to hear will change the direction of your life. Michael begins with a truth people rarely hear while they are still alive. Heaven did not just close your case. Heaven opened your path. Those words carry weight. They hold a spiritual law inside them. Because when heaven closes a case, it signals completion, but when heaven opens a path, it signals creation. You're not just walking away from something. You're walking into something. Something that has been waiting for years. Something that was delayed by interference, blocked by karmic cycles, trapped behind unhealed wounds, slowed by the wrong connections, and buried beneath battles you didn't understand. But now the path is clear. The destiny is activated. The blessing is released. And heaven is moving you forward with a speed that breaks spiritual sound barriers. You've been asking silently, what is this blessing? What's actually coming? What changed? Why now? And the answer is bigger than anything you imagined. Your life is about to enter a season of divine restoration so intense, so supernatural, so precise, that even you won't believe how fast things shift. Michael says, everything you lost that was connected to your purpose is returning in a multiplied form. Not a small return. Not a partial blessing. A multiplied restoration. Heaven didn't calculate what you lost in numbers, they calculated it in pain, time, growth, and destiny. They measured the tears you didn't cry out loud, the nights you stayed awake in silence, the heartbreak you hid from the world, the moments your spirit broke quietly in the dark. That pain wasn't ignored. It was documented. And heaven compensates suffering with elevation. Always. But this isn't just restoration. It's redirection. Heaven removed you from paths that were too small for your calling. You prayed for healing, heaven sent transformation. You prayed for stability, heaven sent expansion. You prayed for clarity, heaven sent awakening. You prayed for peace, heaven sent purpose. You prayed for blessings, heaven sent destiny. Because what's coming isn't something you could have handled emotionally, spiritually, or mentally back then. Your old level couldn't carry this blessing. Your old relationships couldn't handle your elevation. Your old habits couldn't sustain your future. Your old mindset couldn't survive the new dimension you're entering. And now, finally, Michael reveals the part heaven hasn't spoken yet. Your case was closed because you completed a karmic cycle that followed your soul for years, maybe even lifetimes. A cycle of being underestimated. A cycle of being used. A cycle of carrying others emotionally while no one carried you. A cycle of giving while receiving little. A cycle of loyalty that cost you pieces of your own soul. A cycle of attracting broken hearts while healing alone. A cycle of spiritual battles that weren't yours but became yours because of your empathy. Heaven said, "No more." The karmic debt is paid. The cycle is closed. The contract is cancelled. The weight is lifted. You are entering a season of divine compensation, where God returns to you not what was taken, but what was promised. And here's where the unbelievable part begins, the part that even angels rarely speak of. You were being prepared for a destiny only a few souls are chosen for. A destiny of influence. A destiny of elevation. A destiny of leadership. A destiny that requires spiritual authority, emotional maturity, and divine timing. A destiny where your voice, your presence, your energy, your essence will impact more people than you think. You are not meant for smallness. You were never meant for invisibility. You were designed, crafted, for impact. And the universe tried to dim you because if your light ever reached full power, you would disrupt generational patterns and break spiritual chains around you. You are the cycle breaker. You are the bloodline transformer. You are the one chosen by heaven to redirect the entire path of your lineage. And that is why the investigation took so long. Heaven wasn't just reviewing your life. They were reviewing your lineage. They were reviewing generational patterns. They were reviewing the burdens your ancestors carried. They were reviewing the cycles no one before you could break. And heaven decided you were the one strong enough, awakened enough, spiritually aligned enough, to carry the assignment. That's the unbelievable part. Your case is closed because your calling has begun. Type Amen. Your timing is perfect, Lord, if you're waiting on His plan with hope.